Yes, yes, yes. Good afternoon. Greetings to every one of you. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Easter Sunday, the day of the resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are welcome to the Comrade Show. This segment, as you all know, the Comrade and Friends. Please, as you sit, relax, share this broadcast. Share it both on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, on our social media handles. Please stay with us. Don't go away.
This is the Commerce Show.
Welcome back. And today we're having a very, very special program in continuation of our media chat series for the Edo 2024 governorship election coming up later this year. We have another big elephant in the house who will be talking to you, be sharing his vision, his ideas for Edo State people on this program today. Before I introduce our guests, ladies and gentlemen, Edo-lights across the world, let me just quickly bring in my other colleagues on this show. First, Pharmacist Remiran, greet our people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Agbons. It's always good to be in the saddle with you, and I can see that we are fully complete today. The Musketeers are in situ. To our Christian brothers and sisters across the world, I want to wish them a very happy Easter celebration. And like you said, today is bumper pack. Stay tuned. Don't touch that die. Remember to share.
Thank you so much. I also have in the house our CNC, the comrade himself, Comrade Lante Ponsawayaki. Comrade, greet our people.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tony Agbons. Yes, Nigerians, greetings to you all. Edo 2024 in focus is what we are looking at. And today, we're having a special guest in the house. Please don't go away. Help share the broadcast. And of course, let's keep the discourse ongoing. God bless you for joining.
Thank you very much, comrades. Very well situated. Let's keep the discourse going. Yes, and to keep the discourse going, we have a very erudite Edo State son, distinguished son of Edo State. He's the governorship candidate of the Young Progressive Party, YPP. We have here with us live no other person than Paul Owokan Okungbowa is here with us. Paul Okungbowa, greet Edo State people worldwide.
Edo people, thank you so much for the opportunity. I wanted to greet in local dialect, so I just realized that I was on territory that is, of course, polarized by a lot of Edo indigenes. It's a resounding happy Easter from me, and I hope that the blessings and the resurrections of our Lord Jesus Christ meets you in good condition. It is my expectation that at the end of our discussion, just as Christ rolled away that stone that defeated death, at the end of our discussion, we can all come to terms with the possibility of rolling away the stones that has bedeviled our political space and, of course, a better life for our people. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. The stone indeed will be rolled away. So let's keep this discussion going. And I want to ask you, Paul Okungbowa, Edo State people worldwide, I know many of them know you already, but for the purpose of this program, let us meet you. Who is Paul Okungbowa? Where are you from? When were you born? Tell us very briefly.
Okay. Thank you so much. Doctor, some time ago, in the course of introduction, you said you have another big fish in the house. Well, I like to differ. I do not think there's anything big about me. I'm a simple man. Just somebody who feels that he has something to offer and is willing to share it regardless of the political process and what has accompanied the political process. My name is Paul Owokan. I am an identical twin, and I was born into the family of late Sonny Okungbowa. We hail from Wonde local government, um, Ugomoson village precisely, and my late father, he died 7 years ago, was also a simple man. and I've lived my entire life within the confines of Edo State. I'm a simple business owner. I do not have something elaborate. I'm a pre-university tutorial instructor. I've been affecting lives directly for more than 22 years. I'm also a school proprietor. I have 5 branches of Calvary Crown Academy across the length and breadth of the city. And I do other things here and there as a source of revenue. I own a restaurant and a lounge. I own car wash service across the city. I own um, laundry service across the city as well, and a little of here and there, and anything that we can engage in that is of legal means of generating revenue. These are the easiest way I can introduce myself.
Wow, good to meet you. Pharmacist Remiran, take the mic.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Agbons. Paul Owoka Okumbowa, it's very good to meet you. I will also want to take you back to that question because I think there's one I like to hear. I know you are a full-bred Benin man and you've talked about how the city is good to you and your business. But in the course of my question, I want you to add this to it. Let us know the schools you went to. It's always good to know that. And also to know when you were born, especially in this situation or in this aspect of our lives where there's always a problem with age. You don't want a situation where should you become governor tomorrow, your age will be in doubt. But I must say,
Yeah.
from your discussion just a while ago, it promises to be a very great one. The follow-up question to that will be, why do you think you are the right person to be governor of Edo State come 2024?
So, first of all, I was born January 3rd, 1984. Like I said, I'm an identical twin. I turned 40 January 3rd, 2024. So I'm 40 years old on the dot. And I attended Ibiore Primary School. I rounded up my primary education in 1995. Then I attended Dynamic Secondary School. From there, we moved to Ubowo environment, where I changed to Opet College, where I finally finished my secondary school, West African Examination Council, then exam. Then after that, I proceeded to University of Benin, where I did a diploma program and a BSc program that ended in 2008. And if I'm to do a follow up as to the question you asked, why do I feel that I'm most suited to be governor of Edo State 2024? First of all, there is nothing, I repeat, there is nothing absolutely special about me. But you see, when you keep having expectations that things will get better, that those who have the financial and political means to get into public office will get there and do that which is expected. And every time your hopes and expectations are dashed, and every time it seems as though there is no redemption in view, because I, for one, do not listen to people when they are telling me what they are saying. I'm listening to what they are not saying. The policy programs of the political class for the past 20 years has been for me that is beautiful, enraptured with fine and polished English. But in actual terms, these policies have not affected the lives of the people. And I just now am a victim of the maladministration that has been occasioned over time. I lost my father, first of all, to medical malpractice. He shouldn't have died. What led to his death was just carelessness in the medical space. And I have children. At 40, I have 4 kids, and I'm done with giving birth to children, by the way. But my first son is 10 years old. I am gradually faced with the reality that if I don't do something, it's going to still be discussion as usual. Because the road that leads to grandma's house, where we all grew up, that road is still bad. And I felt like if I have gone through the university for nearly 18 years now, and the road that leads to my mother's house is still bad, and my son is currently 10, we both drive through that same bad road. So I feel like there is a lot that could be done. There is a lot that should be done. And I don't feel this thing that needs to be done is on the basis of your wealth. Because if it's on the basis of your wealth, the people that we have elected just now are not poor people. But look at it, they are still collecting pensions. These guys were billionaires before they came into government. These guys get into government, accentuate laws and policies that directly keeps bringing the people's revenue, the people's taxes to them via, for me, a wicked orchestrated Pensions Act, which does not really necessarily identify the sufferings of the people and address the sufferings of the people, but a few class of people who are wealthier and more mightier than the people. So all of these put together, plus we have shared ideas with the political class. I have personally visited authorities, discussing with them areas where we can actually channel ideas and use government policies and government available structures to push them. And of course, it becomes a wealthy stream for the people of those states. I have visited the one time Oba of Benin, where I discussed with him very energetically how we can use agriculture to turn the new agriculture can literally become the new Yahoo, because the moral fence had fallen. And so the generation just now that is just younger than me and my generation are copiously involved in fraud, because this is actually the only means that they see. So I feel like if we can address the issue of agriculture and make it so luminous that the younger generation begins to see it as another wealth stream, if we can bring young people into agriculture, it becomes robust and the wealth stream there is endless. And after I had that discussion with the Oba Bini, he blessed me with his name and said that anywhere I go, I should tell them he sent me to them. He gave us 50 hectares of land to start the experimentation of the process. And he asked his palace chiefs to stand up and pray for me. And I feel like the son of a nobody who has earned this pride of place with a revered monarch, the only thing that got me there was ideas, because I didn't go under a titled name. So I feel like DSC succeeds in our leadership space. And I feel the place of idea cannot be replaced with money. And I also feel like if we go and engage the people on what we have crafted in the area of healthcare, in the area of urbanization and rural development, in the area of wealth creation, in the area of security, in the area of education, if we can sell it to them, regardless of whatever means we can fund to sell it to them, because we are in a race that the political space has ab initio become a space that is only for the poor, for the wealthy. And the wealthy will only keep feeding on the numbers, and the numbers is to the talakawas. And I feel like this is for me an offense because we do not live 90, 100 these days. People are dying carelessly and senselessly. And I feel they are entitled to this commonwealth. I feel like the ideas I shared with the Esama of Benin Kingdom some years ago, when he asked me to stand up and be looking at the sky, and he said to me, whatever your eyes can gauge, that is your starting point. And then he gave me his property at Airport Road to do business free of charge for 7 years. I did not know him before then. I did not give him any incentive. I only told him things that can be done to make life better. And he said, what can I do to make your own life better before you get to the point where you can make other lives better? And I'm glad to say that for the past 7 years, the property did not only bring succor to me as a person, as an individual, it provided employment for an array of young persons that I put in this structure. And then again, I feel like the ideas that I have visited the current governor of Edo State when he was chairman economic team, I had visited him to discuss robustly with him how we can use ideas to create wealth and generate tons of millions of dollars, which is outside IGRO and federal allocation. I feel like the ideas that I've discussed with some members of the Nigerian Medical Association, wherein they kept asking me, how do you think of these things? I feel like before Facebook became Facebook, I did a design that is bigger than Facebook. It was called ysl.com, and I made some money with it. The reference point that what I've just said is true. Without studying computer science, is the principal of UDSS, Mrs. Oboite. They paid me $500,000 for 2 years to use that project. And I did not study computer science. I have learned a long time ago that there is so much wealth in the cyberspace. And instead of you to be condemning the young persons, how do we bring them into the wealth that is in the cyberspace? Because of that, I established the Faculty of Entrepreneurs in Ugbawo, a 300 laptop capacity, where I am teaching young persons the wealth in the cyberspace. And I feel like this government over time is not responsive in the area of using ideas to create wealth. And I feel like it is no longer the pride of place for the high and mighty, because just now the proof is that they come into office to make more money. If they don't come into office to make more money, why do we have the Senseless Pensions Act that is still paying them despite their stupendous wealth before they came into government? This has become some moral issues for me. I can no longer sleep when I look at the number of young persons who depend on me. I am a young man at 40. Before I turned 40, I have had more than 400 staff network. I know what I go through to pay their salaries. I am not living according to my work earnings today because of the lives that depends on me. And I feel like there are other lives that depend on me too. For the past 3 years, I've been trying to use my Facebook account to raise money for a girl to go and undergo kidney transplant. The high and mighty in this city don't care. She eventually died 6 days ago. And I feel like a lot of people are dying senselessly. So instead of me to keep quiet, I would rather bring my voice out. Let me hope the people of Edo State will hear this lone voice in the wilderness and begin to partner with the voice, because they have made the election and the process of election so expensive that those who have ideas for leadership will have to come under them. They have created that process. They have liquidated our voting process with so much money. But there is always one time, that time where the people get tired of collecting salt and pepper. There is always that time where the people get tired of the politics of today. And I feel like we can discuss with our people of a politics that can create a financial infrastructure. When there is a financial infrastructure, we will solve the senseless killing occasion by cultism that has obviously enraptured Edo, especially every December period, because most of these young persons are idle. I feel like the ideas I carry needs to be discussed. And so, by God's grace, a fraction of the people around me who know that this is an ordinary man mandate, this is just a single man speaking, and they are gradually trying to support us to get our voices out. And this is why I'm most grateful to this comrade show for the opportunity to speak to a number of persons via this platform who perhaps will hear the seeds of creativity in the voice that is echoing just now, and undermine whether the voice have money or not, and also undermine whether the political party of choice have structure as described. Because what I know as structure is the people make the structure. In the last presidential election, in my polling unit, a man was assaulted because he brought money to come and try to bribe the process. I feel like that wave of change, it is possible that you discuss with the people, and then the wave of change, at that times that obviously today made some persons senators without their works, that made some persons House of Rep member without their works. And it is not that Peter Obi showed us the proof of what he had done in Anambra, which is of today still creating wealth for Anambra State. But Peter Obi proved to us that he's less greedy. He's much more concerned about the project Nigeria. So if I can show the people the proof of some of the things I've done and the things that I have to do, hopefully by God's grace, Osadebe Avenue will belong to the people, because I cannot sit in that office where erosion and poverty lingers and ravages the length and breadth of the 3 senatorial districts.
Wow.
Paul Okungbawa. The positions. Comrade Oriahi.
Thank you very much, sir. First and foremost, my condolences, Paul Okungbawa, to the families and, of course, relatives of that young lady you talked about just now. Apparently, it's a reflection of our system and, of course, the many failures of our system. I have listened to you and you've gone round and round. And I can tell you that I am really, really proud of you, because I think you are a young man, and what you hold, you are just a model, for young people, I'm sure. And I hope that people can look at you and, of course, know that they can aspire as well. I'm glad you mentioned that you did have some encounter with the governor of Edo State, Governor Baseke. He's currently the governor of Edo State. And you are aspiring to become governor of Edo State. What is he not doing that you think he will do better for Edo State people?
Okay. You see, somebody asked me a question some time ago. He said that, do you think the current governor of Edo State is doing nothing? I said the language nothing is too ambiguous. How can you say somebody is doing nothing? But I just feel like he's not doing enough. And the reason I feel he's not doing enough is I know how sensitive the common streets is. And I also know that government policies are not in any way benefiting the people, the real people. When I mean the real people, I mean the real common people. I know that government policies is not getting to them. And I know that there are some beautiful ideas crafted in some memorandum of understanding that is not yielding the right results. And I feel like perhaps maybe what we carry will work in the space of leadership, because it has proven over time and time to have worked in private practice. So I feel like if you are faithful in a little, you could be faithful in a lot. Now, in the area of human capital development, which is lifting the people out of poverty, because the truth is this: if you build a bridge from GRA to Sapomba Road, it is only those who have strength that can use the bridge, probably trek on the bridge. If you tar roads, thousands of roads, it is only those who can afford vehicles that will actually enjoy the usage of the vehicles. And I feel while all of these are part of what must be done, I feel that there has been a complete neglect in the human capital development as far as using people's oriented program to better the lot of same people and creating wealth. Edo is still living on borrowings. I read a journal this morning of the copious sum that Edo has borrowed. And I feel like I can create a government that does not depend on borrowing. It is something I can prove on this live program, that I don't need to borrow money to create wealth for the people. And I feel like if we can create wealth for the people, we may have solved substantially a very robust, portion of their worries. Because an hungry man is an angry man. Today, there are a lot of persons who I feel government is not sensitive to their plight. Now, let me use one example that I feel that, okay, policies can actually shape in the course of people's joy and
Mr.
happiness.
Paul, sorry.
Very
May I
recently,
interject with all due respect, sir? You see, this is focused on a governorship election, okay? And we have a lot of people. We are going to start getting comments very soon. Probably some people are going to call in. And people who watch this program, we are watching you as a candidate, okay? A governorship hopeful, okay? People want to hear practical steps that you intend to take to change the narrative. You understand what I'm saying
okay,
now? You know, if you can
okay,
inject some of those things, like you said
it's
just
all
now,
right.
that I know personally that borrowing, excessive borrowing without actually seeing what the borrowers are doing for the people is a problem. And you have said that you can actually run a state without borrowing. We want to see,
Yes.
some of those practical examples, sir.
Okay. First of all, one of the reasons why I said government is insensitive to people directly is one. So as I lay down, I begin to go into how we can create wealth without borrowing. And then you begin to put together with your calculator the statistics of the employment and viability of the economy and how we can increase the GDP of Edo on your own. You can put that together while I discuss. One, when the president announced subsidy removal, it came as a big blow. In fact, it's the singular denominator why there is so much suffering today, because the price of every commodity went up, and a lot of greedy businessmen leverage on that to have their prices accentuated. And by the way, government is also no sensitive as far as going as implementing price control committees or tax force. So when the president did that, after some time, when they realized that this was biting hard on the people, they also decided to put up a subsidy, a palliative program. So they promised 5 billion for each state. I don't know if Edo has gotten the entire 5 billion, but I knew when Edo got 2 billion as a first tranche to cushion this the effect of this hardship. And so while Edo State governor was quick to announce free transportation, I put it to you that for me, that was a policy itself that could not in any way direct to the people what they expected from government. Because when you say free transportation, the calculation is this: if that 2 billion is to be expended, how many of these routes can we calculate? How do we measure the diesel that is used daily? How many persons are actually plying this route? And is it possible that one bus leaves in the morning and never comes back until 4 p.m.? Is this politics as usual? Because what I feel should have been 2 billion dedicated to another critical infrastructures, perhaps maybe healthcare. Then call a meeting of all road transport workers, all unions, as far as ticketing goes. For those that you give ticket of 3,800 daily, do a tax holiday, do a tax cut, probably go back to 2,000. Then those that you charge 2,008, probably go to 1,005. For those that you charge 1,005, 1,008, probably go to 1,000. At the end of this, do an implementation from the Ministry of Transportation. Let the task force be so aggressive to implement a forceful retainership of the old transportation cost. That way, every single one of us would have benefited from that policy. So I felt like if I was governor, I would have done better with that. Now, sir, let me make this very quick. I said some time ago that if we can make agriculture a new Yahoo, young persons will dive into it. And I make bold to say that for everything that young persons are doing currently without the input of government, is it entertainment? Is it the tech industry? Is it the fashion industry? Is it the food industry? Wherever young persons have found a bedding ground to accentuate their God-given ideas, they have excelled. But you see, anywhere their elders hold sway vis-a-vis leadership and politics, it has remained redundant. Wealth has been moved from one family to another, not to the Nigerian people, not to the Edo people. And I feel like it is high time we begin to address critical issues leveraging on people's strength, people's capacity, and people's creativity. And that was why I built a schematized operation for agriculture. And this schematized operation for agriculture was test run. So I went to the Oba Obini and I said, across the three senatorial districts, I've done a soil sample analysis that proved that our lands are arable and viable. These lands can literally grow almost everything in the north. And I have said, aside cash crops, which of course takes longer time for produce, we want to have done a design that can take both animal husbandry and plantations. But I had to leverage on plantations of a threshold of 3, 2, or 4 months without fertilizer, because fertilizer has also bedeviled standardization of our operations as far as food processing and food growth goes. Like, if we can implement my scheme, in my scheme, Dr. Tony can own an agricultural a farm in Edo State, even if he lives in Dubai. In my scheme, Dr. Tony didn't need to bother himself about how this growth will happen. All Dr. Tony knows is that he has subscribed into an agricultural project, and this agricultural project has agricultural managers. So I typed my proposal to the Agri Development Program, ADP. And so I visited the authorities of ADP, and ADP graciously, hello, can you hear me, sir?
We
Yeah,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear
Go on.
you.
So I went to ADP. The Agri Development Program accepted my project because in my project, we were to use community lands. There are thousands and millions of acres of land across the 18 local government that are left fallow. So we were to have a partnership with community heads, wherein they will appropriate lands to us. So all Dr. Tony needs to do is to pay for a portion of that land. So if we probably divide it into, let's say, 100 by 100 units or a 50 by 100 units, Dr. Tony now knows how much it will take him to own a farm project, to own a farm within a project pilot scheme of XYZ. So if Dr. Tony, and indeed every of those across Nigeria and across the diaspora, begins to see the viability that what we have brought just now is working. So not only will we be increasing productivity within our rural settlement, we'll be increasing the GDP of Edo because there is so much currencies, hard and local, coming into Edo State, into this farm project. So we felt like if Dr. Tony will own this and decide to increase on the number of plots that he has, all we need to do was to put workers in the farm, do a plantation of, let's say, vegetables, or let's say watermelon, or anything that can go into the soil and come back within 3, 4 months. Is it tomatoes? Is it pepper? Anything that can go into the soil and come back within 3, 4 months. Now, when Dr. Tony knows that the Agri Development Program, in partnership with our organization, which I was proposing when I discussed with the Oba Abini, had done a plantation spread on his plot of land. So the yields that is to come from his plot of land, multiply that by the thousands of persons if we had that policy running across the 18 local government, where we cannot put viable, arable, redundant lands into agricultural productivity. Now, on that alone, we figured that not only were we going to increase the productivity of our lands yielding agricultural produce, but very importantly, the project was insured. I got an insurance company that assented to insuring the agricultural project then. And at the same time, I also got an export company that was willing to put the produce together and export them outside Nigeria, African countries, and Europe, America, and Canada. As at that time, God is my witness, I had not traveled out of this country. But do you know, sir, the first time I traveled out of this country, I went to an African market, and I discovered that down to green plantain and begiri, the one the Benin called the Bevarier, the one they used to put in soup those days, were sold in Manchester. But here is the sad thing, sir. Like I told people, and I'm sure you are very aware, that even a friend of mine wrote to me, Uyi Osifo, wrote to me from Dallas, Texas, that the biggest African shop in Dallas, Texas, where he is owned by an Indian man. I found that was that the Pakistanis were the ones who owned the African shop that I went to purchase African produce from in Manchester. I was a bit saddened by that because I felt like if my government was intentional about creating wealth, other than just collecting federal locations and IGRO and doing cosmetic projects that one cannot really account for in the long run, I felt like, how about if we had actually strengthened my agricultural project, by now, Edo would have been having a lot of produce coming out from Edo State. But the good thing would have been this: how about a government that would deliberately set up African markets in every state across the world? Because all you need sometimes is partnership with those in diaspora. And I believe that if I call Comrade Oriahi today and said that as a governor, I need a committee of persons within the country where he is, and I need them to own the African shop there with government in partnership with them, because the produce will be coming directly. I feel like those in diaspora will make more wealth under me as well, much as there's almost robust wealth also going to be created back home. And very importantly, sir, when you become an OFN of some sort, when there is tons and tons and tons of production of agricultural produce, both animal and plants, sir, do you know that China is in short supply of ethanol? And we can even encourage the diabetic community by processing more of ethanol, while the other shrubs goes into fiber, which is the swallows, and then we can have more wealth from that particular sector alone. I'm not even talking of hogs or extracts or fats from pigs. So when I did all this study, I was like, see, until this project becomes a project of young people, it will be agricultural statement in blueprint, very fine English, but it will not work until it is owned by the people. So what I proposed to the Oba of Benin was how those in diaspora and those at home can own robust agricultural production. Now imagine if we have copious productions, both in animal, both in the waste of the animals, and at the same time in cash crops or arable crops. Sir, I want you to use your calculator to calculate how much revenue we'll be bringing in if we have African shops owned by those state governments in partnership with our people across the length and breadth of the world, where Nigerians and Africans are currently residing. So which means the consumables actually have a market where it can be sold already. But as a government gone intentional to have this in Dubai, to have this in Turkey, to have this in London, to have this in Algeria, to have this in Germany, because if it is in Germany, the Edos and the Nigerians there will begin to probably boycott the Pakistani shops and go and patronize what is theirs, because it brings revenue to them and back home. But imagine what we can export to the 33 states too, because numbers is power. If Edo has 220 million, if Nigeria has 220 million in calculation as far as the last population census ago, imagine, sir, the wealth that we will have if we're just selling tomato to the whole of Nigeria. And Edo was the biggest hub producing tomato alone. No talk of what can go outside the country. So I feel like the scheme that I have developed was the only thing that would have answered participation, because all this needed was participation. Mind you, what I had developed did not also need government financing. All it needed was government policies. So when government policies are put right, those who want to own agricultural farm produce, those who want to own farms, who perhaps are looking for something to put their residual income to, will that today massively being better, they'll be making better wealth, because the consumables, so long as people live lives, it's better you invest in what is described as daily utility than an infrastructure that only very few will understand the usage. While I vote for building of bridges, building of markets, I also vote for an increased revenue base from government to the people, and increased participation of commerce, where government will use policies to drive it, and the people will own it, and the people will begin to participate more. These are just nuggets of the agricultural project that I had designed. About 2 months ago, I was invited by the ADP in Edo State, wherein the permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, was in attendance. Edo State permanent secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, was in attendance. Some critical stakeholders and House of Assembly members were in attendance. And the organizers, Youth Farmers Association of Nigeria, deemed it fit that nobody like me should speak to them on how to create wealth with agriculture. Sir, you can call and make inquiries. I spoke my heart out. And it was proven that day that ideas still subsist in leadership space. If you use what I have to drive that alone, that's wealth. And then again, I was also thinking one time, and after I lost my father to medical malpractice, I said to myself, there are a lot of persons who are still dying every now and then. And I have an aged mother who needs attention. And I'm fortunate to be relating directly with young people. So I find out from them what is actually happening in their homes. Because when I go to my centers, I don't just act as proprietor. I act as their brother and I act as their friend. So very many of them bring their problems to me. And I feel like a lot of things our government is perhaps not even aware of because of background. So when you have not tested what people go through, you can't actually empathize with them. The truth is this: there's a transvaluation in the organogram of things. Right now, only a blind man can lead a blind man. Because it's only the blind man that can empathize with the blind man, see the pains of the blind man, and know exactly what the blind man is going through. Because those who have vision before now have led the blind man, led him into gutter, and collected the revenue on his behalf. And so I designed a healthcare program. And I dare to say, sir, that we can create free healthcare for our people, leveraging on their taxes. When you create a robust economy where there is huge participation in economic revolution, then people will be happy to pay taxes. Government will have the morality to collect taxes from people. And I said, if we have this, tax here and there, I use the very low economic strata as, a bench of, seeing how my narration could make some sense. So I called some keke riders and I also spoke with some Uber riders. So the Uber man, I asked him, how much do you pay daily? He said he pays 21% to government as tax. 21%. So I don't know how the divide is. I don't know if federal government takes some portion of that and state government or local government takes another portion of that. But I said to myself, instead of waiting for a South African company to be leveraging on our population, because the truth is this, investors are not coming because of one big name. Investors are not free givers. They are not philanthropists. They are coming to look for more money. So when you say vote for us because we have big names who bring in investors, that's a lie. The political thing here is that if you make a blind man governor today, investors will go to him because they want to invest and make more money. So I said, the South African people have literally owned the Nigerian space aside the Chinese, the Indians, and the Pakistanis. I said, when will Nigerians wake up and see that 10 years from now, they are either stranded, which is the only thing that is available to their generation is fraudulent engagement. So I said to myself, I built an app very many years ago. This app, I didn't study computer science. I thought in my mind, if you can create traffic on the web, there's so much wealth in traffic. In which case, Edo State government is still collecting taxes from billboards when they can digitalize the operations of advertising. I have built a network to digitalize advertising and collect money from advertising. So I felt like, why is the state not thinking in this direction? So for me, the reason they are not thinking in that direction is because they don't have it to think. So I said to the Uberman, if I build an application and it's a government-owned application and it is owned by government and private investors, because you have to make it private partnership because of long-term foreseeing of consistency and continuity. I like, if you download, let's say, an app today that is owned by those state government, let's say we call it Floki, let's say Floki belongs to myself, Comrade Lucky, Comrade Austin, Comrade Tony, and a lot of other comrades in diaspora. Let's say Floki belongs to us. But because I'm in government, I can use policies to drive Floki more. And I said to him, if you download Floki, you will pay 15%. And if you pay 15% per ride, you will have free healthcare. And your passenger will have free healthcare. And the man was like, how? I said, simple. If I take 15% from you, and I put 10% into government account, and I put another 5% into a stack account, wherein the account is there, statutory, there's no withdrawal. If you, every day and for every minute or hour that people book your ride, you will see that for them to have booked that ride, they too will earn points for health cover. And then you that also use the app will earn points for health cover. Don't you see that gradually, without fighting, everybody will abandon the other apps that belong to foreigners and begin to use our local apps? because our local apps not only create wealth, but at the same time, it's solving health problem. And I said to them, and I also had this meeting with some members of the NMA, that if we have such stack accounts where we are taxing people, and then these tax are kept daily, let's say 30% of the tax of that woman who owns a store somewhere in Uromi, let's say the tax you collect from the keke rider, let's say the tax you collect from the taxi driver or the vanet bus driver, if you keep 30% of it daily, instead of using it to compensate political warlords, the lions and hyenas that you use in political process, because this is how you keep such narration. If you don't want to keep such people in governance, you make governance so luminous that idealists and those who have the capacity to grow governance will come into governance. And I said to them, if we have this, the next thing that will happen is not only are we creating wealth and employment in agriculture. Mind you, I skipped the point in agriculture, sir. Because when we have so much productivity going on in Edo, companies that are in Ogun and Lagos will begin to cite their site of production, nearness to site of production.
Yeah, value
That
chain.
way we increase revenue by taxes and at the same time increase utility, because by then we'll not be looking at copious food processing. Because when they come, we'll be looking at food processing. The wealth of Edo will increase. All of this I discussed with the Oba of Benin and it blessed me, sir. But back to the healthcare cover. If you tax these people and you have 30% of their money saved and not used as political compensatory revenue, what happens is that HMOs like investors will begin to flood into Edo State. You will not need to have to spend money to build primary healthcare centers or equip primary healthcare centers or build hospitals. Because what we have found out over the years is that the more they build, the more they steal. The more they tell you we are building this, we are buying equipment here, the more they steal. And I think government should be at this stage in life. It doesn't have to be about you in office anymore. It has to be about the collective will of the people. So if we have such stack accounts, you will see investors coming in to own health management organizations. When HMO swung in, the next thing you will see is that the billionaire class and those that have floating revenue or those that have docile revenue will begin to come into Edo State and begin to look for apartments or buildings to own, because at that time, government can also design, let's say, models for them to meet up with. So if you want to invest in primary healthcare, this is the model you meet up with. These are the machineries that should be in that place. This is how we use the light of that place. This is how we connect. This is how you have oxygen tank in that place. This is how you have MRI machines in that place. This is how you have health scan and radiography machines in that place. This is how you have mortality reduction by improving on healthcare, by improving on machineries. Now, when these guys have this sort of accentuated document from government, they can pull in resources from borrow, or friends of friends will begin to own it, because the idea is this: there's already availability of money. Those who are working daily, they are being taxed daily, but they don't fall sick every day. So you see, HMOs will benefit, but in the long run, the man whose child or he himself has come down with a lifestyle disease, which of course is currently now a death sentence, will no longer be afraid. In Nigeria and in Edo now, the little girl I lost after I could not raise much revenue for her had kidney disease. That lifestyle disease is not something the son of the vulcanizer or carpenter or even a salary earner can foot the bills of maintaining such healthcare. But you see, because we tax them, we would have put such in place. Maybe God knows that girl probably wouldn't have died today. Maybe today, God knows my father wouldn't have died. Because when there's so much liquidity or finance in the health sector, you will reduce the jackpot syndrome of health workers. Because one of the reasons why this people decry a lot is that there is no fluidity in the health sector. My doctor sometimes tells me how much he earns. And the last time he told me how much he earned monthly, I was just looking at him. How do you guys even survive? But I'm not speaking for the doctors. I'm speaking for the common people. People who can now use the doctors and health workers, leveraging on ideas to ensure that there's a balance of wealth creation and mean service rendering, copious service rendering, great service rendering, because the HMOs will not want to lose their license. If they don't want to lose their licenses, they will keep improving on this.
Yeah. Thank you. Paul Okunbawa, I know that I can see your, like Comrade Odaki said, you are very passionate, what you believe in. And I've always said this. If somebody is speaking the truth, you don't have to think about what you say. And that is exactly what you are just doing. You are just talking. You are reeling out the facts. You are using data. And I think you are connecting. So, viewers of the Comrade Show worldwide, pick your phone. Our numbers are going to be displayed just now. call in, ask Paul Okungbawa questions. He's here, and that is why he's here. So with the Comrade Show, like Pharmacist Remiran said last week, is for Edo State, and Edo State is for the Comrade Show. That's a new one that the pharmacist has come up with. So please call in. If you don't want to call, maybe you are somewhere, you just engage with us on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and we'll take your questions. We can promise you that. So Paul Okungbawa, I just want to plead with you to keep your answers very short because we want to ask
I
you some other
apologize.
things.
I apologize.
Yes, no problem. Education. I know you and your twin brother. You didn't mention it. We know that you were involved in pre-university academics. You had a school that was very popular, in Edo State. I think it was Gorilla. I can't really remember the name now. So you had that, and then you've transmuted to you have schools all over the place, Crown Academy. So you have been in the private sector. Now, for education, Edo State, we've been hearing. I know we are not in political season yet. INEC has not said that you guys can start campaigning. So I know you're also being very careful. But just tell us a bit. What will you do differently for education?
Sir, because of time management, I'm also going to run through insecurity because that's something I'm very
No,
passionate about.
we have a question for insecurity. I know
Okay.
Pharmacist
Now,
Remira.
now on
Remira has
education,
something
sir.
for you. So just talk to us on
So
education.
on education, sir, I had a meeting recently with some young guys who work with Edo State government, Sube, and I told them the plan of that parasita, which is not trying to digitalize tutelage using tabs and all. I told them the model was faulty. Well, the truth is they agreed with me that the model was faulty because the truth is this: knowledge transmission and knowledge consummation are two different things. You see, those who are consuming knowledge will have to almost repeat what they have consumed. So the mode of transmitting knowledge still remains as important as the result of knowledge transmitted itself. So I said to myself, I have been in the educational space, sir. But before I go into trying to profile solution, let me tell you, sir, the biggest challenge to education in Edo State is examination malpractice. It is not whether or not we are in agreement, whether what I just said now makes some sense, but it's a fact on ground. Now, I'm a pre-university tutorial owner. I have 15 branches across Edo State. I'm also a school owner. In my tutorial, sir, for the past 22 years, I have survived what it means to see big money and turn away my eyes. I've realized that parents are more interested in paying you to circumvent the order and produce results for them by any means necessary than to pay you to teach their children. And so I feel like there is a huge disconnect between parents and the children and the school process itself. And because I found out that examination was a huge problem, malpractice was a huge problem, I had several meetings with young people because I want to go to the consumer first. The consumer, why is it that you are not doing well with your school? And because my business is with these young persons, I found out a lot of things from them, sir. Sir, the teaching environment is polarized by nitwits, not scholars, not passionate tutors. Those who have the intellectual recipe skill to teach and impact do not see teaching as a means to an end. They have submitted their CVs at other quarters. Most of what you have in the educational sector are people who took up the teaching job because of lack of availability of options. And this in itself has bedeviled the process of knowledge transmission from knowledge consummation. They are trying so hard to produce results. Only the naturally very few scholarly persons are actually performing well. The chunk size of people have poor tutelage. Poor tutelage has enraptured our public education and even our private education space. Even I have complaints in all of this. Sir, in very many ways, both institutions, government, Ministry of Education, WAEC, NECO, JAM have all played a role in making sure the industry of malpractice remain an industry. I wouldn't have the time to go into all of that, but it's something I can exhaust and prove. I remember when I wrote a letter to the Commissioner of Education then, Washington Osifo. He told me, Instead of every person that has visited me today, you are the only one that have come here to make sense to me, because I wrote to him that, sir, this is how you can stop my practice. I had a proposal on how to stamp out my practice. It was just a continuation of what the former Commissioner of Agriculture of Education, Ngozi Osayi, did one time. And I tried to digitalize mine. And he said to me, people will not participate in my practice who will do this. But sadly, sir, this same commissioner, he's from one day local government, my local government, he's my elder brother, can testify today that he told me that the corruption in the Ministry of Education is why this examination malpractice has festered. But you see the funny thing, a wealthy billionaire doesn't even know this. I only know this because my eyes are on ground. Until we address those that teach and bring so much wealth into the environment, because the teacher's reward is no longer in heaven. Until we address that, sir, the scholars will not come into the educational space and will keep producing the results we're producing just now. So in the course of Corona, I did an experimentation of how to import cerebral strength and giants across the world to my place of tutelage. Now, because they shut down schools and lecture centers, I was hungry. I didn't have money. I borrowed money from a friend, Princess Osawese, to feed my family that period. And so I said to myself, I have to make money. So I designed brainarc.xyz and I hosted it on the internet. And I marketed brainarc.xyz, a situation that got me clients in the US. Mr. Thompson in Sokpan reached out to me to provide a tutor for them from Benin for their child over there in the US. And I got a lot of offers across the world because I went to man around town to discuss it. So I realized that brainarc.xyz, it was a government tool. The intelligent people will find a place in teaching. And I have always had ideas on how to make such intelligent people teach government schools. Something that I feel the Edo State government of now should probably pay me consultation fee to tell them how to address. But I have, to an extent, given you ideas and nudges that there is so much wealth we can create in the educational space. Then the impact of the wealth we create will erode my practice gradually. But before that will happen, government should have set up a commission or let's say a directorate for examination malpractice. But if you are taking away examination malpractice, it becomes inhuman when you are not providing the corresponding educational viability and utility. Because the exam that the child who attends the Benin Education Center is expected to write is the same exam that the child from Mugbeoko or somewhere around Woimi or somewhere around Anegbete is going to write. So you see, they have not been able to find ways to transmit knowledge and make knowledge transcends beyond classrooms. I have fashioned ways which I can even discuss as time goes on. You see, sir, if they push us out of government, we will leverage on what God gave to us to keep making lives better for the people. If they try to rig the election, we will still leverage on what God gave to us to make life better for the people. Sir, there are a million ways you can create at least let's say 10 billion naira or more from education alone. You create that wealth from education. This is how, sir. Now, sir, a small component from what I've discussed on brainarc.xyz is if we do something like this, to consume knowledge is quite a transient process. In physics, for example, which is quite very inorganic, you are expected to create mental picture of questions asked. In biology, when we teach the stomach of a named ruminant animal or respiration or blood circulation, these things are not diagnosed by pictorial expressions, mostly in our public schools. You are expected to create a mental picture of this. And I said to myself, the world capital for animation is India. So I sent letters to some animators in India, asking them for partnership. And I said, how about we take away the mental attempt to create the picture and create the picture so that you can ruminate on the picture and expand the mental attempt. If, for example, you see a video with audio explaining your own local language, for example, the stomach of a named ruminant animal. That examples of named ruminant animals are sheep, goats. When they take up the grass, which is mostly composed of carbohydrates, but at this form, it is complex to digest. So when they put it in their mouth, the saliva will secrete enzymes, and you show the enzymes that the saliva is secreting. And then during mastication, it takes down. It gets to the esophagus. On the other enzymes act on it. You show the enzymes. It goes to the rectum, the abomasum, the small intestine, to the large intestine. And then you show how the body mineralizes it before it goes on to waste. Sir, any child who listens or watch such video can write a textbook on digestion. Such a child can become an author. Such a child can pass exam without even reading much. Because you see, the music that we've learned many, many years ago, some of us still know how to sing them today. But the Bible or the textbook we read just 1 hour ago, it may be very difficult for us to regurgitate them mentally. So I feel like if I commodify education this way, if I build across all our curriculum from basic school, from junior secondary school, from kindergarten curriculum, and it's the same teachers of Edo that will train to build this, while we're using them to teach in the rural environment and the urban environment, their joy is that their wealth is not necessarily coming from the classroom or government, but their wealth is coming from Ghana because they use the same curriculum with us. Their wealth is coming from Sierra Leone because they use the same curriculum with us. The West African Examination Council curriculum. We can own that space and create more wealth for our teachers. That way, teachers will no longer be poor. That way, you begin to find intelligent men and women who love to teach, come back to teach. That's the only way we can defeat malpractice. And that's the only way we can create value in the teaching process. Until that is done, sir, all they have been doing is waste of resources, is waste of money.
Thank you very much, Paulo Kumboa. Austin Iremira, take the mic, my brother.
Security. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Agbons. Paul Okumbo, I want to say thank you. And I also want to commiserate with you and the family of that girl that died. But I must say, I am sitting listening to you. I am ashamed of myself. I think the 36 governors of Edo State should be ashamed of themselves.
Nigeria.
And I think the current governor of Nigeria, and I think the current governor of Edo State should be ashamed of himself. Because the idea you've expounded today shamed all of us. They are not new, but we refuse to take them. My question to you now is, you belong to the young party, Young Progressive Party, YPP, and you understand the dynamics of Nigeria. We are still, you can't run an independent movement. You need to go through parties. And if your party is not well spread, and I dare say you don't have enough money, these ideas may just die with you. What is YPP position in Edo State, and what chance do they stand?
Thank you very much, sir. Like I said, I was in Labour Party ab initio. But when I realized that Labour Party had owner and they have commercialized the process of engagement there, I had to leave. And I said to myself, if it is God's will, because I know God never takes glory for whatever is easy. If it is God's will, the people will create a government that is leveraging on ideas. All we need to do is to impress on them what we can do if they give us the opportunity. Because we are a nobody, there's nowhere for us to run to. There's no high and mighty that will cover for us. That was why I said, sir, if you make me governor, the first thing I shall do is to grant local government financial autonomy. But before I go to local government financial autonomy and what the potential development, let me go to the question you really asked, sir. Sir, my party will not do magic. I will not kill or I will not allow myself to be killed as a goat, a sacrificial goat for the liberation of people. Those who have done it in the time past are probably rolling in their graves. Kensar Rua today, if he knows what's happening still to the oil sector, will be regretting why he stuck his chain out. I'm only sticking out this time so that the people too will stick out. I believe the people will own this election. I believe if we keep talking, the people will begin to express their will gradually. Sir, I put it to you that there is hope. I have not given up, so I believe a lot of people have not given up. Peter Obi won election in my father's village. He never visited my father's village. Peter Obi won election in villages in Edo Central. He never visited. Once upon a time, they were mocked that there was no structure. Sir, I believe that the first 2 months of campaign, God will use my voice to raise the structure that is needed. But as I speak with you, sir, I have prepared the 4,710 unit heads so that my case was here in the tribunal like Peter Obi didn't have people from that who signed the election sheet. I have prepared such persons. I have gone around some good people who have other good people. Because I myself have been a people person. My business has been people-oriented. For the past 22 years, if I said I have not raised people directly, I have raised more than 100,000 persons directly. I have interfaced with young people directly, sir. So I'm not afraid that when I begin to speak like that long voice in the wilderness, Today, you will hear that we have gotten 1,000 persons who have joined us in the remote village of Irua. Tomorrow, you will hear that, no, that this is how elections ideally should be formed, sir. Elections should not be formed on the backs of the plutocrats. It should be formed on the backs of the people. If the people will not own an electoral process, then the people do not deserve good governance. Somebody said some time ago that the kind of leadership we get is the type of leadership we deserve. Today, as hard as things are, we are being led in a country by billionaires. There is no poor man in office today, which proves my point. The billionaires are not coming there to use their money to save you and I, or to save our street, or save our people. It is still going to be a case of ideas. So when you have a passionate person who wants to go and play with ideas, I believe the best chance for our state is to have someone like me elected. I'm not saying that I'm better than every other person. I'm saying that until they come up with things that are better than what I am saying, they should step down. They should have the moral fortitude to be ashamed and to step down and to support what we are bringing on board just now. What we are bringing on board is too luminous, sir. If you give me 3 hours, I'll keep talking about them because they are in my spirit. I have not even written manifesto as I speak to you, sir. I have not written a manifesto that people go and read. I tell people, if you want to hear me talk, invite me. I will come and talk my heart out, unabridged, something that I have not refined. I read to the manifesto of a particular candidate. I was fortunate to get a copy of the print. And sir, on his educational policy, I wept. I was angry. Now, how can you be writing this and then you are contesting election? So imagine that you are going to use your billions to probably liquidate the process, and probably maybe you sit down and will continue business as usual. If you have a pinch of what I have, sir, your educational policy will be so robust that they will know that you are not only solving cerebral infecundity, you are creating wealth with your cerebral content. And all of these are things I believe will help build my party. We have 4 months to engage the public, sir. I believe that the plutocrats will be tired this time because this engagement is going to be issue-based. Sir, when the people start coming to my rescue, I don't have small energy. I have so much energy to talk for 10 hours. This morning, my voice will be on this radio. My voice will be on the next radio the next minute. My voice will be on the next TV the next minute. It is going to be on the backs of it. Mine is to
I think we have a caller.
I think we have a caller.
That's all right.
Yeah. So I think we
Hello.
have a caller.
Hello, good evening, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, yeah, this is Pascal from United States. How are you doing today?
Not too bad, Pastor. A long time. We are live. You want to contribute or ask a question?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Yes. Everybody's listening to you.
Okay. I just want you to remember. I love the guy's idea, the way he really talks about policy, because government is all about good policy. It's not about whatever these current administrations are currently doing around the whole in the whole of Nigeria. It's all about good policies, creating an enabling environment for the people, and which is exactly what he's talking about. I want you to remember in 2020, when I spoke to you on a live like this, I told you of hunger that was going to come to Nigeria. I remember talking to you about farming, that it would be better that people go into farming. That's because of the information that we have, but today we can all see all of those stuff. My question to him, the young man right there, is what is he going to do, or how is he going to, because I believe in a candidate that listens to the people, to the community. We are very much interested in a candidate that listens to the people, knowing what the people want, because if any candidate has the capacity to listen to the people, is likely going to be able to solve a profound solution for the people. So how does he do his own listening? Is he able to listen to the people of Edo State? So the Edo people want right now a government that listens to them. So how is he going to navigate that route? I want you to see if that's able.
Thank you very much, Pastor. I think he's got your question. Yeah, I think the question he's asking, this is a caller from the United States of America, and he's asking to know, how. Well, you heard the question. It's about listening to the people and aggregating the thought of the people. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Can I quickly respond to him, sir?
Go ahead. Yeah, you have the floor.
To the caller from United, thank you very much for the question. You see, it's so easy for me, like every other politician will say, "Don't worry, I'll listen to the people." Sir, it is that I have built mechanisms to listen to the people. because I know I don't know it all. So the first thing I shall do is to create a directorate of common sense. A directorate of common sense in my government or in my administration, by God's grace and the people's will, is a directorate where you can partner directly with government from wherever you are, where you can speak to government directly from wherever you are. If you have an idea that can create wealth and increase productivity and solve problem, government is ready to join the process of removing every bottleneck to ensure that what you have said just now is implemented. And very importantly, sir, I have said some time ago in my little attempt to fantasize how about if you just become governor, how will you relate to the people and all that? So I said to myself, sir, you see that popular radio program in Benin, the common around town? I've been talking there for the past 18 years on education matter because that's my main stock in business. I propose to go to local radio programs to constantly keep talking to my people, energizing that base. Then again, social media means of communication is the one that now needs management, wherein you can talk, somebody can respond very quickly. In my business, sir, with nearly 500 staff network, I created a means of hearing all of them talk. In my business, sir, with more than 2,000 parents across my schools, I created a means for all of them to talk. That means is that
I think we lost.
and I may not
Is
reply.
that just
Yes.
a little glitch? Quiet, sir.
Go
I've
on.
told them I may not reply immediately, but you see, send me a voice note, report any of my staff, tell me what's going on in any of my campuses or branch, and these people can tell you, sir, I have responded. So I feel government can become very local. If we can localize government and take government away from the hands of big people, if you put government in the hands of people who have no portfolio, such as I am, but just have passionate ideas to get things running, that's a government of the people. That's a government that is within the people. That is a government that the people can easily, quickly access. I promise you, sir, what I have on security, if I implement it, I will not even need police orderlies in the street. I still intend to go around the street. God is my witness, sir. My life is so simple, and I don't know how I come about this sort of life that I don't even leave my earnings. I eat in public squares and public places because I enjoy those locally processed food more than the polished food. So there is a natural thing that connects me with people. And that's because I'm not different from them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Paul. I just want to quickly take some comments, some questions that I see here both on Facebook and YouTube. This one says, there's one about I just want to pick this question. This one really tickled my fancy. He said, I would like to ask the YPP candidate, how would you handle the insecurity in those states? So you have spoken eloquently well on agriculture. Comrade, if you can help us flash some of these comments and questions, so that we can all get to see them.
Okay.
And then it said, how are you going to strengthen community value? This is a reclaim greatness. And the question I read just now, I think was from Irene Finest as well.
So should
So,
I answer the one that
and
asks
then
about
there's this
insecurity?
one. This one said, what are your chances of winning when it is the ASAN agenda? That's what a
Okay.
lot of Edolites want. So, if you can answer some of these
Okay.
questions very
Let
quickly.
me create an impression to that question.
Yes,
Osayen Rume Ekagwari Agama, you are the
yes.
one who asked that question. Sorry, it's not what the majority of Edolites want. It is not. You are not correct. Let's not begin to talk as though we are not talking directly. You are not correct, sir. What the majority of Edopo want is survival, something that can make life better for them. That's the single denominator. The sufferings of the poor eroded. And regardless of the vehicle that can erode that suffering, the people don't care. Because the Edo you are speaking of just now, if a Benin man comes and say, vote for me because I'm a Benin man, we lose the election. Edo is multi-diverse, blessed with all tribes currently surviving and living their lives here. When you are saying a certain agenda, that for me is offensive to the Igbo man who was born and raised there, who is doing business here. Tell him how his business is going to be secure, how his business is going to be better. He's not interested in your agenda. The hope that what the plutocrats have always used to divide us has been nothing other than tribalism and religion. As we speak, they have their table where they dine. They meet and dine in tables. all to share the people's resources, keep leveraging on the commonwealth of the people, while they try to accentuate divides among the people. The senseless killings that happened between the Tutsi and the Hutsis in Rwanda was not because they were all not Rwandans. It was that some persons were profiting from that. That question begs an answer, and the answer is this: Edo people will rally around anybody that saves them, that gives them hope, a practically illustrated hope. I said to somebody some time ago that the obedient who won the last presidential election in Edo are not of any political party. They are not ascribed to any political party. They will disavow any big name or title. I'm glad just now that I haven't pushed an ASA agenda, that the APC and the PDP, which are of course the first big parties in our state and our country, have ASANs on the race. Let them go and convince the people. Let them go and confront the people with their agenda. Let it not be the usual rhetorical talks. Let it be deep and excessive, because we are going to make it issue-based, deep and excessive. Let them confront us with different approach to solve problems, create wealth, and stop the stupendous borrow. Because all the big names that are borrowed so far, they've gotten richer. It is not that I don't like want an ASA agenda. I don't like want an Edo agenda.
Sorry, sir. May I just interject?
Those state agenda. Yeah, those state agenda.
I just want to interject a bit. Mr. Paul, because very soon we are going to be winding down so that we can, maximize these things. There's a question of security. Can you just deal with that briefly? You understand what I'm saying now? So that we don't,
Edo State currently attempted to put boots on the ground with the local vigilante.
We lost a connection there.
Just a little
social programs and other programs to generate money within themselves. A structure where individuals are buying arms and registering it under the guise of the vigilante program. We have seen on news where a husband shot the wife and the gun, he said, is a vigilante member. Sir, I have projected before now. About 8 years ago, I did a security architectural design. And I said to myself, can we all participate in security? I said, yes. If everybody participates in security, security becomes a lot better. So I said, how do I make everybody participate in security? So I drew an application. I built an application, sir. This application was demonstrated live in the house of Senator Ege Uzame. And this application was leveraging on existing telecommunication infrastructure. A situation where the state government, if they had implemented what I suggested, wouldn't have to even spend money that much to have it running. But the thing about the security design that I came up with is that it's not only capable of solving both rural and urban security challenges, but it's capable of generating 1 trillion naira every 12 months. I approved that before on the TV program. It is the program I thought I was going to use as an individual to become effortlessly a trillionaire or a billionaire. So when I did this program, I did a design such that your phones can report security in your house. I matched it with a hardware, connected it to a software, and the software will report security happenings in your area, in your street. And I don't want to go into the detail of how the security program works, but it leverages on existing network. From your phone, you can report any crime. From your phone, a digital screen spread across, hidden in a local government, can know what's happening in your house. And I demonstrated it using a drone that will run between the speed of 3 minutes from the place where it was ignited to the place of crime. And I connected it via GPS. Same way you book ride today and the ride just take you to wherever you are going. I programmed it through GPS so that your phone, once your phone reports, the drone will come to your house because it's reported with address. And the drone was connected with my small polyphonic phone then. And the drone pilot is somewhere that you don't know, just remotely watching from that base what the happening is. And I also did the drone such that it can not only capture the environment, but it was weaponized with a spring system that leverage on tranquilizer. You can ask a popular socialite on Facebook, Dr. Carl Osho the Isibo. He came to me some years ago and I discussed this project with him, and he said he was going to fix a meeting between me and late Alame Sega of Bayelsa State to have this project run in the creeks. Because this project that I designed then, sir, can secure your farms. Nobody needs to be in the farms. The farms can be secured via area drones, leveraging on the system that I built. I built it, sir. I built it, sir. I did not import it. Senator Ege Usame is a living witness of that thing that I built.
So apparently on security, your vision is
technology.
to tackle. Sir?
I said use
not
of
only technology, sir.
Yeah.
Not only technology, sir.
Yeah.
Not only technology, sir.
Apart from technology, what else? We've had technology right now.
Good, sir. In the application that I drew, an SMS will report whatever happening that the GPS has captured, or the moment you press your panic button, it will send 10 SMSs to 10 numbers. That includes the local vigilante. That includes the police force. That includes the fire service. That includes the primary health care center in that local.
We lost a bit of contact there. Yes, comrade, if you can just kind of add a few tips while we get the connection back.
Yeah, I must say that Paul Okungbaba has been vibrating, and Nigeria has been very fair to us in terms of network. I wish he can come back. But I think a lot of things that he's saying makes sense. To be frank, Dr. Tony and Komelante Bosaraki, we know that this is a problem that has bedeviled us. I can tell you that monthly collection of money from Abuja has taken sense away from us. I said many times, the way this guy is just talking, I am ashamed of myself. How much more those people in position?
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Pharmacist Remira. You know, I wrote here, on my notes, ideas rule the world.
Apparently.
But in Nigeria, even you can look at some comments on our screen. So some people are even, trying to ridicule him because they don't believe in ideas. Just like what you have said, Comrade Remira, because free money is available from Abuja, free money is available from IGRO that they force people to take. Paul Okumbawa is back. Paul, if you can just finish up, network connection there. If you can finish up here, it's security.
As I was saying, sir, when this does a reportage, immediately men in boots will swing into action. But the tranquilizer system that are attached to it can also immobilize an assailant if the assailant is captured within range. And I feel like before men in boots will even get there, I did the system such that it triggers every house. So if something is happening in Dr. Oriaki's house, the alarm will, after he presses the panic button on his phone, an alarm will be blaring on his house. Same alarm that blares when they do change of lights. When the alarm start blaring, sir.
Yeah, I think his connection.
This pattern so that it begins to get Dr. Tony's house. So when you begin to hear blaring in all the houses in the street, that naturally should unsettle the such criminal or such assailant. And we may have even driven him away without shooting one bullet. So I feel like security under my watch is not only to the urban community. So I propose some of the 900 million that are collected for security votes should share that security vote with the people. Create a pool.
I think it's got
and across the crime, you have an entitlement from that security vote. You begin to see that people begin to invest in cameras in their homes. Everywhere will be camera. Who wants to go and kidnap where there is camera everywhere? Who wants to go and shoot December cultism when there is camera everywhere? And at the same time, I said, when we put these cameras everywhere, we will create metal detectors that are sequencing all the car plate numbers in Edo. Instead of you to put men to be risking their lives on the highway, if you drive past the metal detector that are created, sir, it will flag up your plate number. If your plate number is not registered in the state, you're already a suspect. If you came into the state to kidnap or to commit a crime, you already captured one way or another, either by the city cameras that has littered our major road and our streets, or by the metal detector that have detected the plate number of the car you have used just now. And I feel like we can bring a lot of tech giants into this. A lot of young people are busting with tech ideas. They just need a hub where they can make these things more luminous. These are several things we can do in terms of securities. And when I say we can create wealth with it, when I say that we can create wealth with it, I intend that we have enough money to create railway that will link from Edo Central to Edo North and back to Edo South. And somebody asked me, how do you do that? I said, if I can create from just insecurity 1 trillion naira we can do it in 4 years. And the person like, how do you create this money? Simple. Everything I have discussed since, as a young governor, I can market it across the 36 states. There is no governor who is not interested in securing the lives and properties of our people. They are only bereft of the ideas to do it. If we can have my ideas of security running in 2 million homes, just 2 million homes, all they need to first is download the software. Just the way you download WhatsApp and you're enriching Mark Zuckerberg. The way you download Facebook, you're enriching Mark Zuckerberg. When you download these security apps, all it does, after you feed in all your details, it activates and all of that. The next thing is we mount the hardware. That is where investors will now come in to own the hardware manufacturing, because the software is already something we can already create. Manufacturers will come in, investors will come in. You don't need to pay a kobo. So if we have, and I ask our assembly that legislate such security bill, and we have 2 million homes running and they are paying the security bill subscription of 1,000 monthly. Sir, 1,000 monthly means that if it is a 10-room face me and face your apartment, it's 100 per person. So not only has security become effective, but also very affordable. Anybody who lives in a flat apartment, if it's 4 bedrooms, should be able to pay 250 naira. Because the whole of this is not using diesel and fuel. It's tech. You put it there. So it's free money that is going to come in. If you multiply that by 2 million homes, sir, multiply the outcome by 12 months, you will see the wealth we'll be creating.
Thank you
the
very
employment
much.
is potent in the process.
Yeah, thank you. We have a few minutes left. We cannot complete this program without talking about, this is very important, sports. We know that Edo, even the former Bende, we have always been the center of sports. Very briefly, maybe in the next two minutes or so, what, like I said, we know that election have not started. You cannot start saying everything yet. So if you can just summarize, what is your agenda for sports in Edo State if you become governor?
Now, sir, look at it. When I mentioned earlier that there are parastatals and there are aspects of our life that young people are currently blazing the trail globally with, I exempted sport because it's their fathers that decides those who come in. So the elders decide who come into the sporting arena and the sporting environment. That in itself has also made sure that those who are passionate and those who have capacity in terms of sport have been relegated. What I have always said, if I were to be a governor, I don't know everything, sir. I will hire a commissioner of sport, a commissioner of youth sport development. But what I know is this: if you can create a sporting environment that is robust enough for young people to pursue their talent, there are multinationals looking for talents to export. The Chelsea today wants somebody who can score better goals. The other basketball team wants somebody who is better than Curry to score from shots from long distances. If we can harness us and project them, and of course, the media and social media is there to project them. All you need is somebody who is passionate, who sport runs in his blood and veins. Like I told somebody some time ago, I said, come, if you don't put the round peg in square holes, I hope I'm not mutilating my language.
Yeah, round peg in round hole.
There are entertainers. Yes, there are some very intelligent entertainers in Benin here, sir. But do you know that I've often asked myself, what will it be to have an MC Casino or MC Edo Pikin as commissioner of art and culture? Because these young guys are bursting with creativity. These guys can export our culture. These guys can take our culture to the zenith. And it seemed to me like it is that those who have the power, those who are in the leadership space, do not necessarily have the ideas.
Yeah. Just so we don't forget, and I know that the glitches are just on the increase. I just want to ask you, who is your running mate? Can you hear me?
So I didn't hear your question.
Yeah, just a simple one. Who is your running mate? Do you have one, or do you have a placeholder or something?
I have a running mate, sir. He is Ahmed Tijani Mustafa. He's from Edo North, and he's a young man that has capacity. He's currently 39 years old, and he's a social critic, someone who has always wanted government to do better. And there's someone who have always shared ideas, and I felt like this is the right time for such a person, even if he doesn't have a robust financial background, to join me on a ticket
I think
for
we
the
have a
ordinary
call.
people, a
Hello.
ticket of the ordinary people for the ordinary people.
Yeah, hello.
The hope is
Okay,
that
I think we have a
God
call.
willing,
Hold on.
we'll be
Hello, can you
able
hear
to
me?
use.
Hello, can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good afternoon. My name is Osarwese, and I'm calling from Birmingham.
Go ahead,
I
ma'am.
just wanted to find out from this very talented young man if people like MC Casino and the likes that he mentioned their names now would be willing to support him without money, or whether they will go with the money bags instead and take the money on the short run and fulfill their appointment and their bettering of Edo State on the long run. What does he have to say about this?
Thank you very much. Very sound question.
Okay, let me quickly.
Go ahead, sir.
Madam, you see, I told somebody some time ago that the true definition of corruption is that the system has been created where incompetent people are afraid to delve into the political space. That's the true definition of corruption. Now, whether or not the likes of MC Casino or MC Edo Pikin wants to jump in on this, is their prerogative to decide. They can choose to be eating the porridge as Esau did. They also have the right to listen to the aspirants or the candidates as well and make informed decision. They should not be afraid to make known their choice. If their choice is their fathers or the oppressors of their commonwealth, I will not force them against it, man. We have had bad leadership and we have survived. I believe that the time will come where reasonable people will be forced to the bench of reasonability. I do not currently curry their support. I will say this publicly. Whether or not they are by the money bags, it's their choice. But you see, my joy, man, is that posterity one day will look at all of us and like the young men who they were nobody who gave sense to everybody. You see, because sometimes when you talk to some people and you get senile comments from them, I'm reading some on the comment thread. I owe you no ill will when you say that this person is the right person of governor or is the turn of that. The truth is, most of you typing away are not the ones suffering. Most of you typing away don't even have voters card. Most of you typing away have not even bought a current price, a current cup of gari or a cup of rice. Most of you typing away can afford data. Some of you are paid online urchins. Some of you are working for these big names who have liquidated and filled your pocket with money and have eroded common sense from you. I will not in any way despise you for the choices you make, but let history be on record that Paul Okumbawa, the son of a nobody, dared the process and spoke the truth to the people. I am not afraid of what anybody has to do or has to say. Some have told me that they could do this to you when your voice becomes too loud. They could silence you down. A dead man is not afraid of death. The man who is already on the ground is not afraid of falling. There is nothing else we have to live for. At 40, I feel like something new has to happen in my life. But you see, I've always believed that God has been my shield and butler. Attempts have been made at me in the past. God himself liquidated it. And I do not say this because I want to tell you I'm a pastor, I'm so spiritual. It is that grace himself, grace has always been on my side. And it's this same grace we will carry to go and speak to the people. It is my expectation that MC Casino or MC Edo Pikin know that I appreciate the value they bring into entertainment and our culture. It is my hope that they know that someone like me is willing to elevate their God-given ideas and the creativity they carry to a stage where it can affect more and build more.
Thank you very much, Paul Okungbawa. Comrade, there's a comment from Dere Okungbawa. I just want that comment flash because it's very, very reasonable. And it ties in with some of the experiences some of us had, even with the presidential election last year. And it's strictly down because when you see some of the comment here, without any apology to anybody, everybody is free to come here to come and talk. Where this is an open platform, it's an open mic. Paul Okungbawa has come here today to share his ideas, and I don't think he should be vilified for that. And he has every right to aspire. He has been in the trenches, and I think he believes in what he's saying, and he should be given the opportunity. He's not here to work for anybody. I think he's just talking about what he believes he can do. And he's going to sell himself when the campaigns begin. He's going to sell himself to the people. We are rounding up now, so I just want to thank all our viewers. There's been a lot of comments. There are even some people are even, you know, antagonizing each other. Some are supporting each other on both Facebook and YouTube, which is very, very good. Thank you all so much for the engagement. And Paul, I know that as we go on with this Edo 2024, we may probably bring you back to this program. I hope you will oblige us. So, comrade Iremiran, 1 minute. I just want you to your comments because we'll be listening to Paul.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is not a question, just a comment. I just want to say that I hope we can see many more Pauls in this race so that our people will be inundated with ideas and then make a choice.
Thank you very much. Comrade Oriaki.
Not much to say, but to say that I have enjoyed myself in the course of this program. And like you said, Paul, we shall have cause to invite you again, particularly now that campaign has not really started. Hopefully we'll bring you back again and to talk to us. I'm very encouraged. You are a young person, and I think that young people should look at you as a model. And of course, we are all in this together. We need to rescue our land, and I really, really appreciate the effort you are making, and I hope that the world appreciates.
Thank you very much, Comrade Oriaki. So finally, in 60 seconds, Paul Okungbawa Owokan, governorship candidate of the YPP, just your final salvo to people who are watching you worldwide.
Edo people, both at home and in diaspora, I want to make a passionate appeal that the time for us to look inwards, the time for us to check on available indices that can better governance is now. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but if you find what I have to offer as something that can make life better, please do not deny me your support, especially those of us who have the means to support elections, because this election is going to be built on the people, by the people, and for the people. Thank you so much.
This election is going to be built on the people, for the people, and by the people. That is Paul Owokan Okungbawa. He's recrafting the great classic evergreen words of former U.S. president who made that definition. I think we've all had a very good time here today. So I want to thank you, Comrade Austin and Comrade Oriahi, and all our team who have been working behind the scene, making sure that this program reach you. So for those of you who are still watching us, please like this broadcast, Facebook, YouTube, on all our social media handles, and share, because we want a better Edo State that works for everyone. So until we come your way again next week, same time, same channel, we sign off now. God bless you.
Thank you.
Peace.